How's it going, guys? Tris TV here. Welcome to another one of my ranking videos. Today I'm going to be ranking all the 20 Premier League Clubs transfer windows. If you like what you see, please like, and without further ado, let's get into the transfer window, starting off with Arsenal. We've spent the most money in the transfer window, but we haven't invested in the correct positions, got rid of a really promising midfielder in Joe Willock, and for that reason, and just that we haven't spent the money correctly, I'd say a pretty poor window that we've had. We haven't really strengthened in the midfielder position that was really a key problem last season, so I'd put poor. Aston Villa, I've been quite impressed with their signings they've made, such as Leon Bailey, Emiliano Buendia, Ashley Young, and Danny Ings, a proven goal scorer. They've really invested their money very well since the sale of their star player Jack Grealish, so I have high hopes for Villa this season, and I do see them finishing mid-table, but I wouldn't be surprised if they get Europa League football with the squad that they have. Brentford, I'd say average. Not many of their players that they signed have blown me away, but because I haven't really heard much about their players, such as Frank Onyeka and Christopher Ayer, who I do vaguely know from Celtic, who's done very well, but they have played excellent football. I have been impressed with the football that they've played, and Thomas Frank knows what he wants to get out of his players, so they might prove me wrong this season, and I do see them finishing mid-table with the kind of squad that they have, and they've kind of kept hold of some good quality players that they had in the Championship. Brighton, I'd put them in average too. I think Brighton fans were happy when they sold Ben White for an extortionate £50 million, but they haven't really there hasn't been a signing that has made the supporters go wow or think, yeah, we're gonna really climb up the league. But the only standout player I can really see that they've signed is Marc Cucurella from Getafe, but I don't think supporters will be impressed that they haven't invested the 50 million in a good quality player. But so I'd say, yeah, Brighton had a bit of a average transfer window. Burnley, put average as well. There's not been really big names that Burnley made. Like Sean Dyche isn't known for signing the big names. He's just known for their kind of English Brexit type players that are only English or Irish, and he has made some okay signings such as Wayne Hennessy and Connor Roberts from Swansea, Nathan Collins from Stoke. I haven't seen much of him, but some Burnley fans are saying he's a quite quality player, and Maxwell Cornet from Lyon, but I'd say Burnley pretty average transfer window. Chelsea, I'm leaning towards good. Of course, they've sold a lot of their youth players that they've never used, and sold Tammy Abraham, who's now been replaced by Lukaku, a good goal scorer, and got a good backup or a starting midfielder such as Saul. And I think Chelsea have invested really well. They've got rid of quite a lot of players that they don't want and made sure that they have a good quality squad. So I do see Chelsea doing really well this season. I don't see them being mid-table. I see them, of course, as usual, being in the top four and in the title race. So I'd say Chelsea, you've had a very, very good window. Crystal Palace, to be honest, I've been quite impressed by the business that they've done. Bought in Patrick Vieira, a legend, and they have got rid of quite a lot of their fringe players such as Sacco, Van Aanholt, Connor Wickham and Scott Dan, and really invested well, signed some really quality players like Aston Villa such as Edouard, Michael Elise, a really promising midfielder, Mark Gehi from Chelsea, Anderson, who played last season at Fulham, Gallagher and Will Hughes. So been really impressed with Crystal Palace's transfer window, and I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of are a mid-table club. They've got a good enough squad to stay in this league, so I really been impressed with their transfer business. Everton, not really been much big names signings that they've made. Of course, they got Rafa Benitez. A lot of Liverpool fans aren't really happy that he's crossed to the other side of Merseyside, but besides that, some of the signings, a good signing that's looked good so far is Damari Gray, but the rest of their signings have not really blown us away, and some Everton supporters won't be impressed with the quality of signings that the club has made. So I wouldn't say they've had a terrible transfer window, but it's not good or amazing. Leeds, same as Everton. I'd say average. Of course, they have signed Daniel James, who they nearly signed. I don't remember the year, but they nearly signed him, but his medical failed. And of course, they got the promising Junior Firpo, and they've managed to keep Jack Harrison on loan from Manchester City, and they've managed to keep their key players. So I do see Leeds staying up again, but with their business, I'd say average. Leicester, I'd put them in good. They've really invested well in their squad since their FA Cup win, signed some really promising players such as Patson Daka, Boubakary Somare, got Ryan Bertrand as a good backup left back, Premier League proven, Yannick Vestergaard from Southampton, a good replacement for Wesley Fofana, who got injured and is quite injured for quite a long time now, and Ademola Lookman, who was really impressive for Fulham last season. So Leicester really investing well and keep building year on year, and I won't be surprised if they are hovering around those Champions League places this season. Liverpool, I think if you ask a lot of Liverpool supporters, they won't be very impressed with the lack of transfer business that's been done in the transfer window. They've only really signed one player, Konate, but he's not a starting player. He's only there if Van Dijk or Matip gets injured, and they haven't managed to replace their midfielder Wijnaldum, who has gone to PSG, and I think I'd say average, but I think Liverpool supporters expected a lot more in this transfer window. Manchester City, I'm just going to say kind of good. They managed to get Jack Grealish, who was linked with the Manchester clubs, and I think Jack Grealish is a great player. If he lives up to the 100 million, that would be a great signing, and it's really got the Manchester City fans excited for what's going to happen this season, and they've kind of added to their already great attack that they have, so I wouldn't be surprised if Manchester City starts scoring so many goals with the attack that they have. Manchester United, if you ask any supporter, some would say good or some would say amazing. I think amazing because they've re-signed Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the greatest players to ever play this game. That's a big debate. Some might say Messi, but they've had quite a good transfer window. Jadon Sancho, who they really wanted, Raphael Varane. Manchester United do look like a real threat this season, and I do see them in that top 4 place and competing with the likes of Liverpool and Manchester City, and I think supporters will be impressed with their transfer window they've had. Newcastle, I'd have to say poor, only signed Joe Willock, but they've still got a few players that Newcastle supporters won't really want to be there, such as Jeff Hendrick, uh, Ryan Fraser, who's always injured, Matt Ritchie, and I think a lot of Newcastle supporters expected better from this transfer window, so I'm going to put them in poor. Norwich, they've kind of blown me away this transfer window. I didn't expect them to do lots of business. Like, they've made quite a lot of signings. The only few signings I really know are like Ozan Kabak, who played for Liverpool last season, Billy Gilmore, who looks quite a promising player. They have made some good signings, but it's just a matter if some of the signings like live up to what some supporters expected them. But I'd say Norwich have had a pretty good transfer window, and some supporters may be pretty excited for the types of players that they've brought in. Southampton, I'd say like average. Don't get me wrong, they have made some okay signings, such as Adam Armstrong from the Championship, who was like a really good goal scorer. Tino Livramento, a very promising Chelsea youth player. Armando Broja on loan from Chelsea. And some supporters will be excited, but I wouldn't say that they've like strengthened in defence, because now Yannick Vestergaard's gone. It'll be kind of difficult if one of their main players was to get injured, who would be the backup. But I would say Southampton would have had an average transfer window, but I do see them sticking in the league mid-table. Tottenham, I'd say a good transfer window. They have brought in a few players that I don't know, but look quite good, such as Christian Romero from Atalanta, Golini on loan, Brian Hill, promising Spanish player, got rid of Eric Lamela and kind of trimmed their squad a little bit, got rid of Moussa Sissoko, Serge Aurier. So I think Tottenham have done well to kind of strengthen in the positions that they looked the weakest in. Watford, I'd kind of say average. They have made lots of signings like Norwich, but some of the signings like are from like some of the foreign leagues, and it takes quite a few seasons for them to settle in. But they might prove me wrong this season. They've of course signed Danny Rose from Tottenham, Premier League experience. He might be able to give the whole squad a good amount of help. So I do see Watford staying up, but I think some Watford supporters would have expected just a little bit more. West Ham, of course, I'd say quite a good transfer window. They've really got a good backup goalkeeper in Areola from PSG, who did very, very well. Alphonse Areola from PSG last season. Nikola Vlasic, Alex Kral from Moscow, I may have butchered that name. And West Ham are really strengthened well. So I do see them still competing in that top six that they were in last season. So I've been quite impressed with West Ham United's transfer window. They may be disappointed that they couldn't get their goal scorer Lingard, but I do see them doing well this transfer window. Wolves, I'd kind of say average. I think a lot of Wolves supporters kind of expected a bit better business in the transfer window. Of course, they've managed to keep Ait-Nouri, who was one of their defenders that they were impressed with last season, signed Trincao from Barcelona, Jose Sarr from Olympiacos as a replacement for Patrizio, Hee-chan Wang from RB Leipzig, but I think their support is expected a bit better. But you don't know, you never know with Wolves. They might do an upset this season, but I just see them finishing mid-table. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. And peace out.